Welcome home. I'm Dr.Thema, a minister, licensed psychologist, and sacred artist. And this is Homecoming, a podcast to facilitate your journey home to yourself. While I will provide weekly inspiration and mental health tips, this podcast is not the same as personalized therapy. I'm so excited you're on the journey. If you want to request specific topics or to submit a poem for me to read on the podcast, email me at homecomingpodcast@gmail.com. Also, to build our community, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's begin. Welcome home, Cojourners. I'm glad you're here for another episode, and I'm excited we have a poem submission for this week. It is entitled 1,000 Elephants and written by Monetta Wilson. And Monetta is the owner of her own yoga studio. My brother shot dead in the street. No one could help him. 1,000 elephants trample my chest. My heart is broken. I can't breathe. 3 months later, my Tilly gone. Cancer, my friend, my great aunt, the elephants try to kill me. I walk, I smile, the pain is unbearable. 6 doctors, 3 days inpatient, fibromyalgia. The pain of grief was too much. I can barely move. It's all too much. I step on my mat. I move, I cry, I crumble, I get up. I get stronger. I learn to carry 1,000 elephants. I open my heart, even though it hurts. I learn again to surrender and just be. Yes, Monetta, thank you so much for this powerful poem and for sharing the ways in which our trauma and grief and stress can show up in the body. And your submission is so timely because today we're talking about body-based healing, which we also know as somatic healing, Soma, S-O-M-A, meaning the body. And it is really important that we continue our connection with and our commitment to holistic healing and holistic wellness because we recognize that the body keeps the score, that the body remembers, that a lot of our stress and our traumatic stress is stored in the body on a cellular level. And so you hold it in your muscles, in your bones. It can show up even in your bloodstream. And so as we consider healing, we want to think about all of the ways that we can heal, including in our bodies. And I invite you to take a moment, and if it feels right for you, you can close your eyes or lower your gaze, tuning into the breath at your own pace, paying attention to the inhale through your nose and the exhale through your mouth. I want to remind you on today that healing is not just about shifting thoughts, shifting emotions. It is not only about changing the story that you tell yourself or learning new skills or ways of communicating. It is also about the freedom, the liberation of your body. Our bodies are often held so tightly because of the pressures we face out there. They become internalized to the pressures we hold, and that ends up affecting the various systems of our body. Our stress can show up in our skeletal system, our muscular system, our cardiovascular system, Our stress can show up in our reproductive system and in our digestive system. And so as you consider your physical health, whether a formal diagnosis or somatic complaints, physical complaints in the body that do not have a medical explanation or that are added to by the stress in your heart, your mind, your spirit, and the stress in your environment. And so we become mindful of wanting to include our bodies, not only wanting to, needing to include our bodies in our healing, in our wholeness, in our liberation. So I want to share with you some somatic practices that you can do, some body-based practices that you can do as you journey home to yourself. Because as we journey home to ourselves, we want to get our breath back. We want to reclaim our bodies. And for some, it is claiming the body for the first time, because for some of us, the stress began while you were still in your mother's womb. And so if you were born into stress, born into trauma, you may not even recall a time when you really found yourself grounded and at home and connected to your body. And so the first practice that we want to consider is developing awareness of our bodies. So I invite you, even in this moment, to take a look at, not only with your eyes, but with your awareness of your body posture in this moment. How are you holding your head, your neck, your shoulders? What is the level of tenseness in your back? How tense are your leg muscles? What is happening in this moment in your chest and in your gut, your stomach, your belly? Are there any places in your body where you feel ease? Any places in your body that feel tight? Checking in this moment about your heart rate. Is it racing? Does thinking about the body create anxiety or tension for you? As you consider the state of your mental health and wellness, it is also important to consider the state of your physical health. How did you sleep last night? How rested, how fatigued do you feel in this moment? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Many of us are dehydrated or not getting enough water and not even aware of that. Thinking about the dryness in your mouth, thinking about dryness in your skin, even dryness in your eyes. Where are you physically? And how is your body trying to communicate to you in this season? What is your body trying to tell you that it needs? What are some ways, even in this moment, that you can support your body? Whether that is laying down as you're listening, whether that is sitting back, rolling your shoulders back, taking a cleansing breath. Maybe you need to go and get a glass of water. Tuning in to placing your hand on your heart as a way of calming yourself. So body awareness is an important part of this healing journey. And we think about the term interoception. Interoception is your ability to perceive the sensations and what is happening in your body. Do you notice that when you go to certain places or around certain people, that your heart starts racing? Do you notice that you start sweating in certain circumstances? Do you notice the tension in your forehead when you think about certain topics? As you become more aware of your body's communication to you, you can address the needs, the need for comfort, the need for support, sometimes the need to exit, the need to speak up. As I become more aware of myself, I can actually be a better friend to myself. You know, when you are a good friend, you notice what's going on with someone. You might not know the details, but you know they look different today. They're acting differently. They're speaking differently. And so I'm going to check in with my friend. If we're in a setting and my friend looks uncomfortable, then I'm going to go over to my friend and I'm going to say to them, are you okay? You know, is there anything I can do? Did you want to leave? Right? Because I'm being a good friend. And so for me to be a good friend to myself means I want to raise my awareness. I want to be more attentive, that as I am watching the third episode on television, but my body is telling me I'm tired, right? So for me to stop ignoring my fatigue and actually go to bed. Yes? When somebody asks you to lunch or to meet them somewhere and your body feels panic and you ignore that because the person wants to see you and you haven't even checked in with yourself of what is that about? Why do I dread being in this person's presence? And why am I pretending that is not the case? And so our bodily awareness, our interoception, is going to help us to heal and to come home. Another body-based intervention is to have the experience of calmness, of pleasure, of joy in the body so that you have something to return to. If I am perpetually either stressed or disconnected from my body, then my relationship with my body will all be based in negativity, right? So I want to start to imagine things that are pleasurable, places that when I am there, I feel safe and calm and good. People that when I'm in their presence, I feel safe, I feel calm, I feel good in my being, in my body. So if you take a moment and just try to think of who are those people or what is such a place. If you don't have a place that you associate with a sense of calmness or safety, it can be an imaginary place, right? That you imagine if you had a beach house that you would feel calm there. Or if you imagine some fantasy location you may have seen in a commercial or a movie, that if I was there, I would feel calm, I would feel peaceful. For the person that you usually feel calm or peaceful with, that may be a friend, a family member, a partner. It may even be someone who is deceased, but as you think about them, the role they played in your life, you know, one of your ancestors, as you consider them, it may bring a sense of calm, of inner peace to you. For some people, that source or that person who brings calm is their higher power. You want to consider the name, the identity of the one with whom you feel safe and you feel calm. And so with that in mind, as you consider that place and or that person, begin to notice the sensations in your body as a result of being in the presence of someone who is protective, someone who is wise, someone who is nurturing, someone who you associate with trust and strength, who is reliable. And as you imagine yourself in that place or with that person or being, pay attention to the sensation and the shift in your body. Notice if you are breathing more deeply, if there's more relaxation in your back, if you are holding yourself in a different way as a result of imagining being with that place or that protective, caring other figure. And as you have this moment of calm in the body, know that this is healing and it is a gift that you can give yourself at any time. That no matter where I am and what I am dealing with, that when my body is perpetually tense and tight, it is unsustainable and it can create health problems and challenges. And so I want to give myself some ease. It does not mean all of my problems are solved. It doesn't mean that everything in my life is perfect, but it does mean that I am worthy of breath. I am worthy of ease. I am worthy of relaxation. I am worthy of comfort. And I need to start having an experience of what that feels like in my body. If I grew up feeling stress and pressure, and I have an adult life full of stress and pressure, you may not even feel like you know how to relax. So this imagining can help you learn physically how to let go, to get a sense of what those sensations are. Additionally, a body-based healing activity is grounding. With grounding, it gets me in the present and it gets me connected with my senses so that my nervous system can really begin to function in a way that supports my survival, my maintenance, and my peace. And so I invite you in this moment to look around wherever you are. And I'm going to call on all of the 5 senses. If any of the senses do not apply to you, then you'll just hold on because we're going to go through all 5 and there will be some that connect with your experience. So for those with vision, physical vision, if you can begin to look around and notice 5 things that you see to get you present where you are right now. Not in the past, not in the future. Not only do you notice what you see, but begin to pay attention for those with a sense of smell. What do you smell? What do you notice in the air? And as I am present with my vision and with smell, I'm going to now notice what do I physically feel on my body. The chair underneath me, the clothes touching my skin, my glasses on my face. What do I notice touching my body in this moment? Being aware even on the cellular level of what that experience is like for me, tuning into my skin, right? And we also want to notice, what do you hear? So unless you are reading the transcript, you are hearing the sound of my voice. There may be other sounds in the environment with you. So paying attention, I hear birds singing outside. What do you hear? And then finally, what do you taste? Paying attention to the taste in your mouth. It may be something you ate earlier. It might be the toothpaste or mouthwash whatever it is. May it be some tea that you were drinking. I say that because I was drinking tea right before I started recording. All right. So not only do we ground ourselves by paying attention to our senses, but when we are feeling stressed, when we are feeling that hyperarousal, when we are feeling panicked, it can help us to start not only tuning into the sensations in the body, but teaching myself, training myself, practicing, describing those sensations in detail. And so if you are worried, if you are angry about something, you may begin to notice where in your body do you feel that tension. So you may feel tightness in your chest, tightness in your jaw. You might feel tightness in your stomach. Noticing those sensations and then simply beginning to describe them in detail. Describing if the sensation is changing as you notice it. And often what happens when we start to pay attention to what is happening in our bodies, then that tension will start to decrease. Initially, for some who are anxious, you may feel like, oh, my heart is racing. I'm paying attention to my heart racing. And it might feel like there's a increase at first. But if you continue to describe it, that act of describing, that act of paying attention will usually bring you to a place where the spinning will stop, the racing will slow down, that change in bodily temperature will come back to center. And so begin practicing for yourself. When someone is stressing you out, pay attention to where you feel it in the body and just try to describe it to yourself, to notice the movement that maybe it was in my chest and now I kind of feel a tightness in my throat. And then as I continue to speak, noticing the tightness being alleviated to the point where I'm able to talk and to express it. And so the description, paying attention and describing can help to relieve some of that tension. Another important technique or strategy for body-based healing is actually movement. So it was wonderful. We had today's poem by the owner of a yoga business or a yoga studio. And we want to begin to think about ways that you can move your body, whether in dance or walking or sports or yoga, or simply in this very moment, stretching up to the sky and then down to the ground, coming back upright and then twisting, looking behind you on one side, turning around, and then to the other side. And if it works for you, you may begin rolling your shoulders back. And as I roll my shoulders back, I notice the tension that was there that I was not even aware of. And so beginning to roll the back. If it aligns with you, you may want to start moving your rib cage, making circles with the rib, going in one direction at your own pace, and then beginning to make circles in the other direction, again at your own pace. If it feels right for you, you may also want to make circles with your hips. Often we hold a lot of tension in that lower back. So making circles to one side at your own pace. And if it aligns for you, making circles, going in the other direction. Yes. And we can lift our arms to the side and reach toward one side, and then reach toward the other side. And just imagine, what are you reaching for? What are you giving or receiving on the other side? And then slowly, if it aligns with you, placing your hands on your heart as you take a cleansing breath. And from this place of hands on your heart, you may begin to think about moving in a way that communicates what you're feeling on today. So that might be a series of poses. You may actually start dancing. You may take one posture and hold it that you feel kind of sums up or captures where you are on today. So as we move, sometimes we can add voice to the movement. So if there's a sound, a sigh, a word that you want to say as you move, give yourself permission to do that. Your word might be yes, your word might be no, your word might be peace, your word might be freedom, your word may be healing, your word might be breath. Whatever your word is, or it may be a sound that you want to express in this moment, in this healing moment. And I want to offer to you, for the last physical healing exercise, that you may want to engage in an act of triumph. And an act of triumph is a movement that you were not able to do in a moment of stress or trauma, but that you wish you were able to do. And so as you give yourself the permission to physically engage in the act of triumph, it can physically free you and then give you some emotional and mental freedom as well. So if you stayed in places that you wish you had walked out of in this moment, if it works for you, you may just want to stand up and walk out. You can walk with your phone, so you still have our voice and instruction. If there were moments that you froze or you were overpowered and you wish you had been able to pull or to push or to move, to have the experience now with your arms, pushing back, being able to pull yourself up, pushing past whatever is holding you, restraining you, having that experience of pushing past can include pushing a wall. You may want to push on a pillow. You may want to push the air. And as you are engaging in that motion, that may also have a word or a sentence that you want to say to give your body the experience of empowerment, to give your body the experience of liberation, to give your body the experience of agency and of voice. I am glad that you're on the journey, and I want to name, as we have talked about throughout the series, that I am fully aware that the issues you face are not just internal, right? So the message is never, if you breathe and stretch, then you will never have any worries or concerns. The reality is many of us are in systems of oppression. Really, all of us live in systems of oppression. Many of us are in toxic or stressful circumstances. Many have dealt with mistreatment. And as we are working to prevent those issues, to address them, to dismantle them, to disrupt them, to build more safe and just communities. We want to also attend to our wellness in the meantime, right? In the meantime, how can I bring myself home to myself? So I invite your soul to tell your heart, mind, body, and spirit, welcome home.